I'll Take Your Dead is a brand new 2019 horror flick directed by Chad Archibald. Now, Chad Archibald is somebody whose career I'm familiar with, but not because I've seen a bunch of his work, but because a bunch of titles that he's directed I know, I just haven't watched them. And there's a lot, honestly, that I want to watch, and for some reason just haven't, and I'm going to change that because I think about a year and a half ago or so, I did a review for a movie called Secret Santa, which I really enjoyed. It's an ultra low budget slasher movie made on a $6,000 budget by a director named Mikey McMurrin. And I just praised it, loved it, loved it, loved it. It was when my channel was pretty much brand new. And one of the lead actresses of that movie, Annette Wozniak, was like, she came on, she commented. Me and Mikey actually became pretty good friends to this day. And Annette was like, you should check out my movie called Bite. And I looked it up, and it was directed by Chad Archibald. And I was like, and I looked and I saw Ejecta, which I had never seen, and The Heretics, which I don't think had been released yet at that time. I was waiting for it, but now it has for sure. And a couple others that I was just like, these are titles I constantly see that always look intriguing to me, but I never watch them for whatever reason. Most of them probably being that they're not available. I think that's the biggest problem I've had with his work, is The Heretics wasn't available, and some of the ones he's produced, because he's produced a lot of cool movies as well, which I have seen some of those, like Antisocial, but I've not seen Antisocial 2. Look at his IMDb page. He's involved, whether it's in the producing side of things or the directing side of things. He's got a lot of really cool titles, even that Bed of the Dead. Not the Bed That Eats movie, but Bed of the Dead. He's produced that, tons of stuff. So this guy very much has his hands in a lot of horror, and pretty well-made horror as well. So I want to check out The Drownsman. I want to check out Ejecta, even though that has a really poor rating on IMDb. I don't care. I want to check that out anyway. But this is his newest film that I'm aware of, and this is about a guy who lives out kind of in the sticks with his daughter, and people bring him their dead bodies to dispose of. And I was going to make a Pulp Fiction joke there, but I can't repeat the line on my channel. So anyway, but yeah, so the people bring him out, and so they drop off like these 3 bodies out of nowhere, and one of them ends up not being dead. And this guy is not a killer. He just takes care of bodies for, gang members, whoever. People bring him the bodies. He disposes of them. He has no personal attachment. There's no desire to hurt anybody. It's just, I will get rid of them. I know how, whatnot. And the woman is alive that is brought to his house, and he just does not know what to do. And the daughter starts to form a relationship with this girl as she's is tied up in the house. And I won't give more than that, but I really enjoyed this one. It's very well made. I wouldn't really call it horror too much. There's horror in it, and I think that the final act, especially the final 10 minutes, is absolutely horror. But for the most part, I would consider it a drama thriller. And then the last 10-15 minutes, it gets much more horror-like. What I respected about this movie is it takes a pretty risky turn around that third act. And I was surprised by it, but in a good way. But I definitely think there will be people who don't like the way that it turns out, and that's okay. And that's what I like about risky films is, you'll win half the audience, you'll lose half the audience, or maybe more or maybe less. And that's what I dig about taking chances, and this movie does. It takes a chance, and it paid off for me. It probably won't pay off for others, and that's okay. But it's a well-made film. It's well acted. The characters are very, very relatable, likable, and not everything's so cut and dry, not everything's so black and white with this movie. There's some surprises, and yeah, the direction's on point. So that's why I want to check out, because when Annette, I don't know if I even finished that story about Annette, but Annette told me to check. Yeah, I told that she asked me to check out Bite. I did, and I reviewed it on the channel, and I quite liked it. It was kind of a throwback to Cronenberg style body horror, and I dug it. It wasn't amazing, but I did enjoy it. And with looking through his other filmography with Bite and now this in mind, I absolutely want to give his work a chance. So I think I'm going to knock out like a whole slew of these in a row, because a bunch of them are actually on Amazon Prime. And if they aren't, they're pretty cheap. They're like $1.99. So I'm looking forward to that. But this is absolutely one I think that you should check out. Now, here's another tip. Right now, as of today, May 8th, 2019, when you go to rent it on VOD, for some weird reason, and I've never seen this before, it is like $6.99 to rent everywhere. And then on Amazon, it's $5.99 to rent in HD, but it's only $2.99 to rent on SD. And I rented it on SD, so I only got, for $2.99, it's on Amazon on SD. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a $5.99 HD and a $2.99. It's always $1 less. I've never seen a $3 difference between, and with even the HD one is $1 cheaper than anywhere else. So that was pretty surprising to me. But yeah, I recommend it. I think it's one of the best horror movies of the year. That's honestly not saying a ton at the moment, but that doesn't take away from the film. I do think it's very good, and I absolutely think everyone should check it out. But I will, as I say, warn you that this isn't a horror roller coaster or anything. It's a slower movie. It's more of a character piece. It's a lot of talking. But there is an atmosphere of horror, and at the end it takes a turn, and it's for the horror elements, and I thought it was cool. I would love to know what you guys think of it when you do check it out. So if you go rent it, check it out on Amazon, or if you want to pay the full price, go for that too. Hey, support local horror. I hopefully local horror. Now I'm going back to my days of being into bands. Support your local bands and your local community. No, support independent horror, low budget horror. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you guys think when you check it out. Adios.